Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphan Last, aka Skylar Madison, and today we're going to be focusing on how to animate a curve much easier than my last video. I've had a number of complaints about that video, and so I'm going to start up a new 2D scene, okay? I'm going to keep this simple. This is going to be as fast as I can make it, just simply because I don't want to waste your time. So I'm going to go ahead and create this circle, okay? One sec here. Let me up the strength because that annoys me when it's just gray. Let me press enter. So let me go into edit mode, scale it down a little bit, and just grab it all the way out here, I guess. And let me go ahead and go into the timeline, and I'm going to select this frame, press Shift D, and move it on over to frame 100, okay? And I'm going to change the ending of the animation to frame 100, okay? Just to keep things simple. On frame 100, what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this right here, and you know, I think I'm going to press Shift D, and then on frame 40, I'm going to place it here, okay? So I'm going to go to frame 40, grab it, and place one right about here, and let me press Shift D, and on frame 25-ish, let's just go to frame 30-ish, and let's go ahead and place it here. This is pretty cool stuff here. Just wait and see. And then I'm going to press Shift D once again on at least one of these, and place it here. Okay, so if we play the animation, it's kind of like a stop motion little thing. Nothing really too profound. Okay, let me just delete some of this stuff that I accidentally made. Now let's go ahead and do something else. Let's go ahead and grab some of these guys. Okay, let's have this version of it, and let's grab it, and you know, you can kind of free float it, but you don't have any depth perception on a television screen. This isn't VR where you could just place things closer and further from you. What seems like placing something closer and further away from you oftentimes moves things on the wrong axis. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna right click to cancel out what I did, and I'm gonna just grab it, and let's see what happens on the y-axis. Okay, yeah, that's moving it further away from the camera. You can see that, right? Alright, so now we have that as the next frame, and then we have this as the frame here. So I'm going to grab it and put it on the y-axis by pressing G and Y, and that's moving it away from the camera. I can move things closer and further away from the camera. And then on this frame, I want this closer to the camera, and I want this one to just be really far away. Alright, excellent. So when I press 0 and I play the animation now, I can see the ball is getting bigger and smaller, which is awesome. So much bigger that it actually winds up being off camera, and that's cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so we start out with this one, so let's go ahead and select these two frames. If we interpolate it, now I don't necessarily have to customize it. With what I'm going to show you, you can actually customize your timing. However, it is up to you as to just how much time you want to spend messing around with your in-betweens, or as Blender breakdowns. It depends on how much you want to work on them. But I'm going to go custom because that's a lot less work. Okay, so the ball on frame 1 is here, and then it winds up over here. So maybe something fast at first, and then slows down, or yeah, slow and then speeds up. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, let me play it. Okay, excellent. Alright, now I'm going to show you a magic trick, okay? You see this right here where it says multiframe? Notice that I'm in edit mode. Multiframe also exists inside of sculpt mode as well. So you're able to manipulate multiple frames all at once, but be careful how you do this because you can accidentally screw up a lot of frames all at once, okay? So let's go back into edit mode. We tick this box next to multiframe, and that toggles multiframe on. And I'm pretty sure that when I tick use fall off, when I click on multiframe, I'm sure this graph controls how you manipulate your in-betweens. Let me show you what I mean. Let me select all of my breakdowns here. Alright, and let me go ahead and move my cursor just a little bit. Okay, we can see all of our keyframes. Okay, so we need to think about the arc. Well, I already said that I wanted the arc to kind of swoop on in over here. So let's go ahead and move that one. Oh, that looked cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip through. Okay, maybe that was a little bit too intense. So let me actually, now that I see what I'm doing here a little bit, let me just grab, and I'm just pressing G, and I'm influencing multiple frames. And so this is kind of cool stuff here. And you want to flip, like, you're not really able to see your spacing very well with this, but you're able to kind of get an understanding of what your spacing is just by flipping occasionally. So you do want to flip. You want to be looking around your animation quite a bit. And yeah, you know, you are still kind of cycling through a number of averages with this stuff. Like, you are doing a little bit of frame by frame, but in time it gets to being to where you can skip a few of them. It's like 1, 2, skip a few, 1, 2, skip a few, okay? And sometimes it's skip a few, skip a few. So this is actually really quite revolutionary. Okay, maybe I might want to influence the ones coming closer to us. Maybe I might want to, ooh, maybe not. Let me see, how is this working? Oh, okay, I see. Alright, let me change what the onion skins are filtered by. Okay, let me up the keyframes before to 120 and the keyframes after to 120. And let me just go ahead and select all types so that I can see all frames. But for some reason, I guess when multiframe is ticked on, okay, when multiframe is ticked on, I can only see the selected frames, I guess. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so if this is the keyframe, then I want this further down, like that, like so. And maybe I might want to influence some of these just a little bit. Just kind of working out the motion of this ball a little bit. Okay, let's play the animation now. Okay, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, yes, you know, I spent a lot of time messing around with this, but it wound up doing the motion that I wanted. It didn't have the tediousness of knowing that you necessarily had to click on every single one. Let me just tweak this just a little bit more. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just kind of rotate around the scene, and we're able to see how the spacing has just equally distributed according to how it should. I said I wanted it to move fast at the beginning and then slow down, and that's exactly what's happened with the spacing basically on the y-axis. You can see this is the y-axis going left and right here. We can see it's spaced out to move fast on the y-axis and then slow down by how congested these are. Okay, so now if I press 0 once again, it's the same way. We can see that they're spaced out more and then they get more congested around, more so around here than right here. You know, if I wanted to kind of play around with that, I guess I could. Maybe these should be more congested here after I saw the spacing of how things were working out. On the y-axis, it kind of inspired me to try to kind of space these closer together to influence this a little bit more. But there was nothing truly wrong with what I had there just now. But, you know, it's just artist's choice. These choices are now available to us. And, you know, I may be able to see the spacing doing something weird here and there, but sometimes the spacing that you're seeing is weird only because of the y-axis. What's going on this y-axis going left and right when I wind up going to a 90 degrees. Position 3. You press 3 on the notepad. You see that? That's cool. That's really cool. So let's take a look at this. So so let's select these 2 frames, and I want it to start out slow and speed up. Let's take a look and see how that motion feels. That is cool. That was cool. That was a cool motion. I really like that. Okay, so now I get to decide how I want this. Let me select my in-betweens or my breakdowns here, and we can kind of see this motion. Let me turn off multi-frame for a sec. Oh man. Oh, okay, so this frame goes, this goes way off canvas. That's so cool. Alright, so, okay, I have an understanding of what the motion should be. This is gonna be cool. Alright, so what I've noticed is you want to grab the frame right after the keyframe. Let me press Ctrl Z real quick and turn on multi-frame once again because I needed to visualize things. What I've noticed is if you grab the frame that's after the keyframe, it kind kind of and move it kind of in the direction that you want, and kind of start influencing the frames immediately afterwards, you start having more and more of an effect that you desire. So if you start at your keyframes first to kind of help guide you decide how your motion is going to be at the very beginning and end, typically you can find your way into the middle and play around with the middle to kind of help you determine what the motion is going to be. Alright, let's kind of scrub through the animation. That is so cool. Okay, and it's still moving fast. Okay, so let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and grab these 2 frames, and let's go ahead and wait, let's turn off multi-frame for a sec. Okay, I guess that works with the motion. That's kind of interesting, and once again, you know, this is in 3D. This is all happening in 3D. So let's go ahead and interpolate this, and I want it to move fast and then slow. I don't want it to go below this point. Otherwise, it's going to have a bouncy action. It's actually going to reverse the animation. So if I just go like that, where it starts out fast, slows down, and then speeds up, let's do that. Okay, so let's take a look at the motion that we have established right here. Okay, let's, okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so let's turn multi-frame back on. Okay, so if it's going, okay, that's cool. Turn multi-frame on, select all of your breakdowns, and start influencing the frames closest to the keyframe. Okay, I'm going to turn off multi-frame for a second, turn it back on again, so that I can see my onion skins. This is something that I'm noticing is becoming an ongoing issue. Okay, let me press Control Z. Okay, so, alright. Needs to be like right here. Okay, so click multi-frame. Okay. I mean, I really wish, this is the only problem with this. Like, there is no option here to say, hey, I want to see my onion skins while I'm doing multi-framing. That's the only problem that I see with this workflow so far. It's really aggravating me. I mean, like, I know technically speaking I should have drawn out my arcs, and look at that, I'm just influencing a bunch of frames all at once. Okay, so here's something. Okay, it looks like there's a risk whenever you mess around with an animation on multi-frame of getting your congested frames, your slow motions, congested frames around this region right here, okay, within here. This area can easily become too complicated to manage. Just find the beginning of that motion and just kind of like just cycle through and then go to the tail end of the animation and make sure that you're getting it just right. Now, there's a lot of potential to really screw up your animation doing this, and occasionally you will want to turn off multi-frame and actually do this manually to some extent, but multi-frame can really help you out in speeding you up with an animation. That's so cool. Look at that. That's a ball floating around in space. That could be the Millennium Falcon, like the motion that the Millennium Falcon makes or something like that. That looks stinking cool. Alright, I know it's just a ball fluttering around in the sky or something, or maybe, you know, you can visualize it as the motion path for a leaf. But yeah, that's cool. This is something awesome, and it can speed you up in your animation process. Or even if it doesn't speed you up, then it definitely helps you to visualize your animation better, if that makes sense. So in closing, really quick, I do apologize. I said that I'd do everything within my power to put out a video on Sunday, and the goal was to show you guys how to do a 3D drawing inside of Blender, and it's genuinely a 3D drawing, not a 3D model in Blender, but a 3D drawing, as well as talking about multi-framing. But the things that I was trying to tackle in that video was just too much, just way too much for one video. And it got an order of magnitude more complex than what I was anticipating. And in the end, it just got to be so much work to try to output a video last week that it just wasn't worth it. Please keep in mind that currently, for all the effort and time that I put in towards YouTube, I still pretty much only make enough to buy a few snacks here and there every month. That's pretty pretty much all that I really make off of YouTube right now. And so I put in a lot of work in this, and I do try to fulfill my promises. It's just, you know, this is kind of the hardest time of the year. It's really hot right now. Obnoxiously hot. There have been a few days where it's been like 112 degrees outside. So I'll keep on trucking, keep on trying to output the best content that I possibly can throughout this trying time. Anyways, guys, that pretty much concludes it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys would like to get more notifications from me, feel free to click on the bell or go ahead and follow me on Twitter. Link is supplied in the video description below. If you'd like to go ahead and support my channel, there's a picture of my mascot in the upper right corner. It leads to my Patreon. Any support would be much appreciated. If you'd like to see more of my content, feel free to click on anything that's appearing on the screen right now. Thank you very much for your time.